Arnold with Chattahoochee-Flint Regional Educational Service Agency. That's 2 rivers and a lot of syllables, but it is an educational service agency in Ellaville, Georgia. We serve 17 different districts, so I'm an educator. I do a lot of research with teacher identity, so my evolution as an educator has always really, positioned service at the center. So even when I was first working with French students, it didn't matter that the opportunities to serve the students and to show them how to use the language they were learning paired very nicely, and it was just a very natural thing for me to show them how to do. No matter what I've taught or where I've taught, what I've done, service has been at the heart of it. So that's what I'm passionate about. What I wanted to share and impart with everyone is just the power of storytelling, and that is a fundamental piece of getting children to engage with, eventually, with reading. But it starts, as they say, in the crook of the arm. But I think sharing this idea of storytelling was so that I would hopefully inspire people to go into schools, to read to students, to share their stories of service, because when they connect with them and build those relationships, the children start to see this opportunity of what's possible for them. And so as we've gone into the different districts in Southwest Georgia, I've been able to show the students what a museum for service, a local museum of service, would do. And the administrators have been welcoming to that, because it gives the students an opportunity to do more like a project-based learning piece where they are reading and writing and researching. They're doing things across curriculum, so they're converging disciplines, and really it's elevating the student experience and engagement. We really just look at what they can do in their school, where they can go into their community. We also analyze what's available for their state and also international missions. So that is something, when we look at international trips or how to serve people in countries, like one of the schools I worked with, we were connected with a school in Haiti. And so how does that look? How can you get elementary students, or really even K-12 students, to connect with students in other parts of the world? And so one example is that we had students in the United States were writing books in the language that matched the country that they were traveling, the books would travel to. So they were connecting with students in schools around the world.
That's amazing.
I mean, that's an international example.
Yeah.
Locally, I think I mentioned Wiley Stewart did a senior service project for the students at a charter school, so that's a K-12 school. And because the banners for the Sumter Museum for Service, they travel so much, the kids were like, we don't really know. There were groups of kids that didn't know anything about it because they were traveling. And so he designed an outside walking museum that replicates the banners that were here today. And so that to me is just an incredible thing, because now they can go into the Peace Garden and they can see them and really still get the benefit of knowing that they're part of that story. And I think one of the pieces that I really tried to emphasize today is this idea of moving away from deficit-based thinking towards asset-based hope, because I think when the grown-ups are sharing the things that are inherently good with the kids, then the children are going to look for that good. And so that can begin by volunteering in schools and reading in schools, but also just any type of service is going to put someone shoulder to shoulder with another person. And when you're working alongside someone, that's when you get to know them, and barriers can begin to come down. Well, I can say that I was very fortunate. Both of my parents instilled, and my grandparents also instilled that sense of giving back and volunteering and being part of something greater. I cannot remember a time that I was not involved in some type of service activity with my family or friends or schools. So that was something that was part of the culture of the community I grew up in.
And do you have any advice for people that might be considering service or volunteering, but they're just not sure?
Okay, I call it a step of yes. So the idea that when you are moved, when someone realizes that there is a need to help and it matches their talents, Okay, and that's part of it, is that people want to do something sometimes, but they don't see where their talents match a particular need. When those two things do come together, there's that moment of hesitation, or that little moment of, oh, I don't know, but I call it a step of yes. It's the idea that you are saying yes to something, and you're stepping out to see what is possible in that moment. So there's hope in that too.